well, things are coming along here. I don't think I've showed this in the other videos yet. Maybe I did. Got my creeping jennies there. They're actually spread out in a few different places, like there. There's some up in the bog area there. Those grow and spread really fast, which is what I want. Some down there, there. And I also planted some other stuff here, which is this here. This is called bugleweed, or I think it's azula or a bugleweed. I don't know if I'm saying that right. It might be azula. There's a couple different plants with the same name. I got it mixed up in my head, but essentially just bugleweed for short. These here are very hardy, basically evergreen, and these are growing all around my yard in the grass and in the back. They are, you can actually buy these from a store, but they're actually pretty pricey. And I got tons of them. They essentially just are lawn weeds at this point, but they put up in the spring, they put up a long purple, or a long stem with a bunch of purple flowers all over it, and it looks really cool. And you'll see them growing all out in the yard and everything. There's a patch there. There's patches everywhere. I typically will mow around them until they're done flowering because they're pretty nice. But these will spread by runners, kind of like strawberry plants do. They'll put a runner out and they'll just keep spreading. They're real nice ground cover. The deer don't touch them. The rabbits don't touch them. So it's a really good option to be planting around. So it's just a really nice ground cover. And I got some more sedums. This is sedum here. I planted more around here, and these will spread as well. They don't really quite spread by runners quite like this does, but they will grow out. They'll grow a nice thick root, and then you'll shoot up another thing, and they just keep spreading that way. They're not very aggressive, and they're relatively easy to maintain, also very hardy. The deer will nip at those in the springtime a little bit, but they don't nip at them very much. After they kind of start growing, and after the fresh stuff, like the brand new stuff starts growing outward, and then the plants become, I guess their adult stage for the season, the deer won't really touch them. But just when it's new, they might nip at them a little bit, but it doesn't really hurt them. They come back. You can essentially just clip those off and just put them in the dirt, and they'll grow new roots. So very hardy plants. Also, they're not quite an evergreen. If we have a very mild winter, they might stay green, but it doesn't matter because they green up immediately in the spring, and it's cold right now too. Same thing with those. These here, they can be a dark color like this with these leaves, or lighter color, depends on how much sun they get. And also, yeah, there's another one there, and these will spread. I just kind of planted them all around. Covered up the lid there with some more rocks, although I would prefer to have one larger one and less of the smaller ones. And let's see what else I got here to show. Oh yeah, I guess these bugleweeds here, I transplanted a bunch of them all in here, and these will be a nice ground cover eventually. There's actually some grass and stuff growing up there, which I don't mind, because there's no way that's ever going to be able to spread very aggressively. Some grass here and there will make it look good in between there. That's just natural looking anyways. As long as it's not a huge carpet of grass, it's fine by me. The robins, they keep all the moss you see here in different places. They keep coming over here and tearing all this stuff. They're looking for bugs and worms, and they're looking for nesting material right now. So I kind of have to keep like moving it back, because I'll throw it in the water, and then it goes downstream and flows in there and sits in the bottom. So I'm trying to get the moss to kind of grow under rocks and in places like that. As far as plants go, I'll be planting a few more things here, but we're still very, very early in the season. We're nowhere near summer yet. But these are also the new fish. This is what I wanted to show. Down in the cave there, this is where all the fish are hanging out. This water is super cold right now. It's probably in the 40-degree range. But you can probably barely see them, but there's a goldfish poking its head out from underneath the lip of the cave. That's pretty deep in there. And then you can also, I can see them, you probably can't see them, but the rosy red minnows are in there as well. And that's probably where they're all hanging out at the moment. The water temperature is so cold that they've gone into kind of like a more docile, dormant state. And these here I just picked up from the pet store. I got some more of these feeder goldfish. These are only like 25 cents a piece, 23 cents a piece, something like that. And they're not crazy nice looking fish, but you can see there's some nice ones in there. There's red and white, some deep orange, yellower looking ones, and there's a brown, like a golden one. So they look pretty good in ponds, and you can see them from up top. It's not like an aquarium where you're seeing them in from the side. You're only going to see them swimming around the top, so it's not quite the same. So these nice bright colored fish make it a little bit easier to see the fish in the water. And then here, these are rosy red minnows, and these are essentially fathead minnows. Just the only difference is the color of them. And these are really good fish to have in ponds. Very hardy fish. And then the last but not least ones here, we got our shubunkin. These are more expensive fish. Those rosy red minnows are 18 cents a piece. And then these here are $6 a piece, these shubunkin fish. They're essentially the exact same species, but just fancier looking. It's kind of like an orangey yellow black calico looking stuff, and then there's like a white and, well, you can see the color in there. So these here are the more expensive ones, and it's probably not going to get any more fish. So all these here, plus whatever's in the hiding down there, this is all that's going to go in the pond for now. We'll see how they do. But anyways, that's the update for the pond as it is. I put some sticks over there. I think I showed that in the last video anyways. Maybe hopefully by the next time I do another update, it'll be some more plants and maybe some stuff that's spread. Alright, so here's a little update. I planted some more plants around the pond here, and I wanted to go over a couple of those and show you what I have here is a new temporary addition. That little fence there. All that is right there is some string and then some driveway markers. It's just temporary for a couple days until I can get the permanent thing in place, which I'll just talk about in a second here. So I added some phlox here. It's a ground cover. There's 2 plants there, and over there, as you can see, the pinkish color, and then the blue over there. Well, bluish purple anyways. I also added some sedum, and you can see the sedum over there. I kind of spread it out there. I basically just ripped it off the plant and just stuck it in the gravel. It'll root by itself. I didn't want to have just like one spot. I wanted to kind of spread it so it's kind of like just falling over everything. I also put some thyme, or thyme, however you want to pronounce it. I think most people pronounce it thyme, down there. That'll be a ground creeper. And then over there, you can see all the colorful stuff there, the red and green, yellow stuff. That's basically just a sedum patch. I just split it up into sections. That's going to kind of take over that area. And also, I put over here. Here it is. So yeah, there's some thyme down there as well, just a little bit. So that'll end up creeping along there also. There is another type of plant over there. You can barely see it. I kind of spread it in there. You can kind of see it like right there where the tip of my finger is. I don't remember what that's actually called offhand. I'm going to probably list a bunch of plants here, maybe in this video series somewhere, but I'm not done as far as planting plants goes. But anyways, getting back to the fence. So all of these plants that I've planted here so far, every single one of these claims to be deer resistant. And also, oh, there's some, I forgot to mention, there's some spearwort down there in the water. That's going to spread as well, but that's just an addition for the aquatic plants, or semi-aquatic anyways. So yeah, I believe that's also deer resistant. It's also poisonous too, so if a deer was to eat it, probably wouldn't sit too well with it. Apparently if you eat that stuff, the side effects are pretty bad. So go ahead, deer, eat it. Anyways, I honestly, I don't really dislike deer that much, but when they're destroying stuff around my yard, it's really annoying. I don't really encourage anyone to kill deer for no reason. So I come up with a non-lethal thing that I'm putting in here, and that's an electric fence. So this obviously is not the electric fence. This is just a temporary thing, because they were eating the sedum over here. They were eating the sedum, just ripping it out. They're pulling out the phlox. All the stuff is supposed to be deer resistant. They're just ripping it out, and it's never going to have a chance. They're going to keep coming back and eating it. The deer around here eat everything. I planted cactus here. They've eaten cactus. I cannot plant anything, hardly anything at all, without them eating it. The only plants that they don't touch, which is another one I forgot to mention over there, that is a you're not going to see it too well in the video, but that is a ornamental grass. I don't remember, it's a feather something, I don't remember what type it is. It's the exact same type as growing over here. They don't touch the ornamental grasses, the ones that have serrated edges anyways. And also, they don't touch the boxwoods. And they also don't touch barberries, which I have in the front yard. Those are prickle bushes. They don't touch those whatsoever. Oh, and I guess the ferns down there, those are Japanese junipers. They don't touch those either. So most evergreens they don't touch. There are some evergreens that they do eat around here. Over here, this is a type of sedum as well. I don't remember the name of it offhand, but they don't touch this too much, but they will eat it every now and then. So I guess you can call it deer resistant. That doesn't mean that they don't eat it. Anyways, yeah, so all the plants around here, and they don't really seem to touch the creeping jenny, although they did initially pull them out, and they did not eat them. So I guess you can call those deer resistant, but they tried them anyways. All right, finally getting back to, before I get sidetracked again, the electric fence is going to go around here. I'm going to have bamboo stakes that go around this whole thing, all the way around, and then there's going to be aluminum 17 gauge wire on that, maybe 1 or 2 stacks, kind of like this, but not quite as high. It's going to look better than what that is, and the fence will be mostly invisible to the eye anyways, mostly. It's going to come out of the bucket there that's hidden under the rocks, just like all the other wires, like for the pump and everything. And it's going to come underneath the channel, and I've already gotten the unit over here. Nothing's hooked up to it, it's not plugged in, but that's going to hook up to all my other stuff over here. And then the wires are going to come out of this channel that's underneath this rock and attach to that. And I actually made I put 18 gauge copper, insulated copper wires in some air tubing. It was a side-by-side as a medical grade air tubing. And it was just some scrap I had laying around, and then I fed them in there. So it's going to be a double insulated wire before it goes into here. And it's going to be twisted to try to reduce the magnetic field of it so it doesn't cause any kind of weird interferences. But this pulses every second. It's not constantly on, it just pulses every second and sends voltage through. It doesn't really actually cause any physical harm. It's more of just a scare. It's a psychological thing. And if anyone's watched my channel from the past, I've actually shocked myself several times with my Van de Graaff generator, my homemade Van de Graaff generator. I'll just put a little video clip up here on the video now. So I've shocked myself with way more voltage than this thing puts out. I think this puts out 10,000, and my Van de Graaff generator goes up, or it runs at 300,000. But you know, you're talking about static discharges. It's not the same as actual voltage. Is a scare. So what is electric fence is a psychological barrier. It's not anything else but that. If an animal wanted to walk through it, you know, they didn't mind getting shocked. It's not going to stop them or hurt them. It's just a scare. It scares them. Animals are kind of stupid, and they don't want to feel that pain again, so they run away. The easiest way to train an animal to do something or to stay away from something is by giving them a tiny little shock, and they're going to stay away from it. So that's the update here. I'll probably update it again once I put the electric fence in. Well, I got my electric fence all installed. Here's the unit, and the wires go down into the channel that I have underneath here, which is the downspout channel. It goes down over there, and then it comes out over here where the little bucket is that I showed before. And then I kind of have the wires buried over here, which is actually in the medical air tubing. Goes over there. And then there is a ground rod here that I put in here. This is actually just a half-inch copper pipe. I had some scrap laying around. It's 4 feet of this. Well, actually 4.5 feet. And there's about 4 feet actually into the dirt that I pounded it, and then what's sticking up out here, subtract maybe 6 inches or so that actually has contact with the earth. So there's 4 feet in the ground. And then there is some other tubing over here, which is just black fish tank air tubing that I've used for my fish tank. I have some scrap of that, and I coated this here, this aluminum wire, and then this is the feed, and then this wire here is actually just the support for this bamboo rod here. And the rest of these, this is the feed that goes up, and it starts at the top, and then it goes all the way around the whole pond, comes back around on the second level, and it goes back around towards the other side. And so it's a series loop. So I just have this covered up with a rock here just for, I guess, mostly aesthetics, but yeah, so that works perfectly fine as a ground rod. If you have very, very hard, dry clay, I don't know if you're gonna be able to pound in a copper pipe. I have very wet clay, and I was able to kind of just push it in the ground with my hand with some effort. So everything is basically insulated to where it needs to be, and I've already actually had a candidate test out the fence for me. A deer came up kind of over there. And if you look at this here, fence it's visible, but I wanted to make it as invisible as possible because I don't really want to have a fence around this for a number of reasons. One of them is aesthetics. I didn't want to have a fence around this whole thing just because it kind of feels enclosed in. Also, number two, like it makes it, having a fence around it makes it harder to work in this area, and it's just more or less in the way. But I needed the barrier here just so the plants had some time to establish. So I only need this to last for maybe a year or two while all these fresh plants can root into the ground and grow and everything. Because if I don't do that, the deer are just going to continue to nip at them and pull them out of the ground, and they'll just never have a chance. This is the best time of year to get it started, and if they keep getting disturbed, it just reduces, it sets everything back basically. So you can kind of see the fence there. It's kind of shining a little bit. It's just exposed aluminum wire, 3 tiers as I've shown, but these are bamboo stakes. Just I got them for like, I think it was like $5 for a bundle of 12, and I just shoved them in the ground there, and then just kind of used I'll show you up close here. These are just wire clamps. I basically just zip tied them to the posts and then just rest the wire inside there. So these wires are not actually really secured to there, they're just resting in these. And if you wanted to take them off, you just lift it up basically. So let's say that a deer came up to this and just put their nose underneath this wire and then got shocked and then kind of lifted up. It's not going to like rip all this stuff out of the ground. It'll just pull the wire off for the most part. It won't be as catastrophic. But the main thing is though is the top wire here needs to be at a kind of a specific height. For me, I'm trying to keep deer out, so this is the level I would want it to be, because when they come up and they kind of lean down and put their noses at this level, that's kind of where you want the electric fence to start at, is at the level of their nose. Not when they're standing up, but when they're kind of like bending down a little bit. If you put it up too high, they may put their heads or their antlers, if it's a buck, underneath this, and then if they lift up and get shocked, they're going to flip up and they're going to rip everything out, and it'll be just a catastrophic event. So you want it to have high enough to where if they try to reach over top of this, they're going to want to put their nose up to this first and kind of smell it, because that's just what they do. And if they walk up close to this and put their heads over top of it, they're probably going to hit it across the front of their legs or their neck. So it needs to be at a very specific height, because if it's too low, well, then it's not going to do anything with it. I decided to put the 3 tiers here just because I had plenty of wire to do so. I don't really need 3 tiers. If I would have done 2 tiers, it would have been fine. But you know, there's raccoons that come out here and stuff at night as well. I figured I'd put a lower one there. That way it kind of helps keep them out. The raccoons aren't really disturbing much of anything, but you know, I figured why not if I have the material. So I'll put the video clip up here if I haven't already, just to show you what happened with the deer. It's just a mild static shock. I mean, if I was to touch this fence, it's not going to hurt me at all. It'll scare me a little bit, or I'm ready for it. But if it was if someone else was to touch this and didn't know it was electric fence, it would scare them more. And they would associate the pain with being harmed, but matter of fact, it doesn't harm you at all, really. It's just more of a scare than anything else. So yeah, it doesn't hurt the animals at all. I kind of feel bad for them because, you know, there's the water for them to drink and everything, and I just want to keep them out of this, at least for the first year or two, and then I'm going to take the fence down after that. Alright, there's one more thing that I kind of forgot to mention before I end this video, and that is what I did with the intake bay skimmer area. So the 5-gallon bucket that I have in there used to have that white strainer on the top there, and I never mentioned about what I did here, and I wanted to mention that real quick. So this top here is just one of these bucket tops. It's meant for 5-gallon buckets, and it has a lip that kind of goes over top and around that outside edge. It doesn't really go on very tight. It's just a lip about that long. It kind of hangs over the edge, and then it has little tiny notches around the rim that hold it down a little bit. I cut out half of the notches so it would be easy to take this off. And then what I did is I just cut in these 2 holes here and put 2 5-inch net pots in there for hydroponics, and that's skimming out all the larger debris before it goes down into the pump. I did this way because this is really easy just to pull these out, just like this, and if I want to empty that out, I just toss it over there to the side. So that's just skimming out the stuff, you know, throughout the year. And then when I want to take the pump out for the winter, I simply just lift up this whole thing real easy. It's very easy to take off, and I just take the pump out and just set it up top here so it doesn't freeze in the water and ruin it. Very easy disconnect right there from that rubber coupler right there. So I made that area very easy. This is still going to get covered up here. I don't know what I'm going to put here yet. I'm thinking just I'm going to be putting a kind of half of a hollowed out log with some bark on it, and then some fake ivy on top of it, just to set on top of it to cover that up. I don't really mind it that much actually, but I just kind of want to make it look better aesthetically. So anyways, I'm going to come back and update, you know, make another video probably later on in the summer or sooner if I feel like it. But that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.